What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we'll be checking out a brand new tier list for the brand new upcoming game Reverse 1999. But before I get started on this video, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and also turn on post notification bells so that you guys can always stay tuned as to when I post new videos. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here in the channel, if you guys have any questions, I created a brand new Discord server so you guys can join. You can join by going to my channel description and you will see the server link there, and I'll also post the server link in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's get right to the video. So Pride just released Reverse 1999's tier list a few hours ago, thanks to Pride. I'm gonna put the link down in the description down below. But anyways, this is the tier list. So we have two categories. We have early game and we have late game. We're gonna check out the early game first, and in my opinion, I feel like the late game is more important because late game is just, you know, the entirety of the game versus early game where it's just one portion of the game. So I feel like for late game we should really focus on that, but I'm just gonna do early game because, you know, we're all gonna be new to the game, so early game is also important. So as you guys can see right here, we have for the S tier list, for damage dealer, we have, I don't know how to say her name, I'm just gonna say Bloom. We have Bloom, Centurion, I don't know, man, these names are kind of complicated. Centurion and Eternity. So these are the top DPS characters in the early game, and they're on S tier. So if you guys haven't watched my previous video on when I was discussing, you know, which characters you guys should really invest, like you guys should really look forward to, Centurion, she was one of them as well because she's a 6-star DPS unit. Now this unit is a 5-star unit, which is honestly pretty interesting, and seeing how she's S tier for late game, that's good news. So she's S tier for early game and late game. And Eternity is a 6-star character as well. Let's go ahead and check her kit as well. So I'm not going to read all her kit because it's going to take us all day to, you know, analyze this tier list and on top of that go through their kit. But overall, her damage type is reality, and she basically deals DPS. She does not deals DPS, but she deals damage. She does reality damage. She has a thing called leech rate. I don't know what the leech rate means. We're gonna have to wait and see when the game launches, but she has this leech rate thing. And then for her debuffs, she basically sacrifices HP to do damage because it says the caster suffers current HP. So she basically sacrifices her HP by 10% in order for her to deal more damage. So that's pretty much her kit. She's a debuff, like she debuffs herself, and on top of that, she sacrifices HP to do damage. That's basically her kit overall. So that's pretty much Eternity. And for Ann and Lee, we're in a support category now. Ann and Lee, like I said, she's a control, support, and DPS unit. She is going to be really, really solid because she deals damage, and on top of that, she's able to stun enemies. As you guys can see, daze. When she inflicts daze on an enemy, the enemy won't be able to act. So she has stun involved in her kit, and she also has a buff where she can increase damage dealt to the enemy, and on top of that, she can reduce damage taken. So your team will take less damage and your team can deal more damage. So she's a really solid unit overall. And for another unit that I want to talk about is, of course, DK. Now DK, I talked about her in my last video. DK is going to be a really good unit. As you guys can see, she is S tier in early game, but for late game she's A tier. But overall, she is still a solid unit because she's able to purify literally all of these debuffs right here. She's able to purify stats down, neg status, and control. And she also has immunity. So immunity is basically immune to all of these debuffs. So she is a really solid unit overall in terms of being immune. And she also is a DPS character. She does mental damage. And the reason why she's going to be really good with this mental damage, and I will show you guys why in a couple minutes, but she deals mental damage, and she has a thing called Genesis damage. So I'm pretty sure this is like another damage type. And she also has healing. She's able to heal all of her allies. So overall, DK definitely going to be a really good character to use. Now, the reason why I said DK is going to be a really solid character is because if you pair her up with a unit like Baby Blue, as you guys can see, Baby Blue is an A tier and she's a support character. The reason why she's going to be really solid with Baby Blue is because Baby Blue is able to shred mental defense. So if we go over here to her first skill card, It says mental defense negative 25% for the target for 2 rounds. She's able to inflict mental defense shred on the enemy. So that will allow your mental DPS units to deal more damage. So pairing DK up with the unit such as Baby Blue, DK will be doing a lot of damage for sure. So when the game launches, if I end up getting these two characters, I'm definitely going to keep that account because these two characters together would be really solid. And not even just DK, but I'm pretty sure every mental character in the game, for example, Voyager is also a mental character. Um, Pairing them up with Baby Blue would just be solid overall because they'll be doing more damage because Baby Blue is reducing their mental defense. So we're gonna go ahead and check out Voyager. Voyager is a debuff, control, and DPS unit, and her damage type is of course mental. And for her, someone in my comment section said that this right here is their ultimate. So her ultimate, she's able to do one target attack. She deals 500% mental damage and inflicts Moxie -2 on the target. So I was able to understand what Moxie means. Moxie is basically your ultimate gauge. So the enemy's ultimate bar is basically decreasing, so she's able to decrease the enemy's ultimate bar so they won't be able to cast her ultimate. So that is really solid. And if the target is in confusion status, this attack deals 100% more mental damage. And confusion is basically critical resist -25%. This can stack, and each stack is timed independently. So if the target has this confusion status on them, she will deal more damage. And then for her first skill, she has Mass Attack, deals 150% mental damage to 2 enemies. And then when you enhance this skill card, you'll get a debuff. And the debuff is basically going to inflict confusion. So when you basically want to inflict the confusion status first before you do her ultimate, because when you inflict the confusion status, she'll do more damage based off of whether or not the enemy has the confusion status on them. So overall, really solid unit. As you guys can see, for her second skill card, she has a counter involved in her kit. So mass counter, she gives all allies 1 stack of Interstellar Blessing and Sturdiness statuses. So if we go over here, Interstellar Blessing deals Voyager's attack times 100%, Genesis damage to the attacker. And Sturdiness, when the caster's attack, damage taken reduction plus 20%. So overall, Voyager is going to be a really good unit because she's able to provide counter to your team. She's able to provide debuff, and she's also going to do a lot of damage, and she's also going to provide damage reduction to your team. So Voyager is going to be a really big unit overall, early game and late game. I feel like Voyager is that type of character where she's just going to be straight up cracked for a long time because her kit is just a lot. And for another character, we have Medicine Pocket. She heals and she does damage reduction. So pretty much for the S tier list, these characters are really good. Really solid characters. I feel like the biggest ones in the S tier list is of course Voyager, DK, An Lee, Centurion, and Eternity. The rest of them are still good, but I feel like the biggest ones are DK, An Lee, Voyager. I feel like they're just the top ones because they just have so much involved in their kit. Now for the A tier list, I'm kind of intrigued the fact that a 3-star character is in this tier list, so I want to actually check out her kit. So in the early game, she's going to be A tier, but in the late game, she's going to be B tier. So I'm not pretty sure whether or not you want to invest into this character. But if you want, to start off strong in the game, then I would definitely recommend you guys to go with this character because apparently she's A tier, which is honestly pretty good. So for her ultimate, she has 1 target buff. She gives 1 selected ally a shield with the caster's attack times 100%. HP and inflicts Empower Incantation 2 on the target for 2 rounds. So Empower Incantation, when the round begins, 2 random incantations gain +1 star, and the shield is able to block certain damage for a certain duration. So she provides shield and she inflicts Empower Incantation. Now for her first skill card, she does 1 target attack, deals 160% reality damage. This attack enjoys penetration rate +30%. That's honestly pretty good. Penetration rate, that's really nice. So her damage, like her max damage for her first skill card reaches 400% reality damage. That is honestly pretty good for a 3-star character. And then for her second skill card, she basically is basically a buff. So 1 target buff, reality damage now reality defense and mental defense plus 25% in damage taken, negative 25% for the target for 2 rounds. Wow, so this unit is definitely going to be good for sure. The fact that she has reduced damage reduction, like she has damage taken negative 35%, so your team is basically taking, not even team, but it says one target, so basically one target is taking less damage by negative 35%, which is max enhance, and the defense is plus 35%. So she'll be a really good unit to pair up with a tank unit for sure, because she has shield involved in her kit, and she also has the additional defense and damage taken. But the thing is that you can only choose reality and mental. So the fact that it says only reality and mental defense, then I would recommend you guys to pair her up with a reality or mental tank unit, because they're going to receive that additional defense. So 3-star unit overall, really, really good. Like, I'm actually shocked for a 3-star character. She's actually pretty solid. Now we have another 3-star character, which is a support, and we have La Source. Now, LaSource, she's going to be really good early game, but for late game, she's not going to be good. So I would recommend you guys to not really focus on, investing into this character, because for the late game, she's apparently C tier. So if you, like I said, if you guys want to start off strong, LaSource will be a great character because she's A tier. Now let's go ahead and check her kit. So she's going to be a healing unit. So for her ultimate, one target attack, she deals 400% mental damage. So for her ultimate, she just deals damage, and she has a Moxie -2 for the target. So she's able to reduce the enemy's ultimate skill gauge by -2. So they won't be able to cast their ultimate. So that's honestly pretty good. I feel like the Moxie debuffs are really, really solid. Now for her first skill, Spring Fae, Mass Attack deals 150% mental damage to 2 enemies. So she's going to be a mental damage DPS, not DPS, but she's going to be a mental damage type unit. And seeing that she has Mass Attack, I'm pretty sure Mass Attack means AoE damage. I feel like Mass is just a fancier word for AoE, but I don't know. But Mass Attack, I'm pretty sure that's AoE. And the more you enhance the skill card, the more damage you can do. And then for her second skill card is basically healing. So mass healing, HP plus the caster's attack times 80% for all allies. So it's pretty much just healing. So her kit is pretty much simple. Deals damage, reduces the enemy's ultimate, and also heals the entire team. So pretty solid unit so far. Early game, but for late game, not really. So me personally, I wouldn't really invest into like this 3-star character. But if, like I said, if you want to start off strong, then she'll be a great character to start off with. And if for a 4-star character, we have a damage reduction unit. He's going to be A tier early game and B tier late game. Let's go ahead and check him out. So he's going to be a defense and support unit, and his damage type is reality. So for his ultimate, one target attack deals 450% reality damage. This attack enjoys penetration rate plus 30%. And then for his first skill card, he deals 160% reality damage. This attack enjoys leech rate plus 30%. So he also has leech rate involved in his kit. I wish Prideman was able to define what leech rate is. It would be so funny if leech rate basically means crit rate. That would be absolutely hilarious, but I'm pretty sure that I don't know. I might be wrong, but I don't know what leech rate is. But basically, the more you enhance this skill card, the more damage you can do. The leech rate percentage is still the same. The only thing that's enhancing is that, like, the only thing that's going up is the reality damage. And then for his second skill card is going to be a buff. He gives all allies 1 stack of sturdiness, reality defense, and mental defense plus 10% for 2 rounds. And the more you enhance it, the higher the defense buff goes. And then sturdiness basically means when the caster's attack, damage taken reduction plus 20%. So this 4-star character is going to be a really solid unit to use with a tank unit, because he provides sturdiness and defense as well, and he's able to provide leech rate, so, and also penetration rate as well. So this 4-star unit, Oliver Fogg, seems pretty good. So that's pretty much, am I missing? Okay, we have another 4-star character. We're going to check out these two, and then we're going to go to the late game. So for Eric, she's going to be a DPS Dispeller, and she's going to be a reality damage type. Now for her ultimate, she dispels stats up, pause status, and counter statuses from the target and deals 450% reality damage. Also inflicts disarm status on the target for 1 round. So disarm is basically cannot use attack incantations. So that's pretty much her ultimate. She has a dispel involved, and she also has um disarm, like she's able to like basically just take out attack incantations. For her first skill, she deals damage based off of her. She deals reality damage, and then for her enhanced versions for her first skill, she deals 200% reality damage, critical resist rate, and critical defense negative 25% for the target for 1 round. So she has a debuff, and she also deals damage. And then for her not third, but for her second skill card, mass attack. So I'm pretty sure that's AOE. She deals 120% reality damage to 2 enemies. This attack enjoys penetration rate. So we also have another character who deals penetration, who also has penetration rate involved in her kit. So overall, pretty solid character. She's a DPS unit, and she's going to be A tier in early game and B tier in late game. So far, it seems like the 4-star characters and 3-star characters in this game, it seems like they're going to be really good early game, but for late game, their value is going to diminish late game. But for this 3-star character, it seems like her value is not gonna go down drastically, but the fact that she's B tier late game and she's a 3-star character, that's honestly pretty good. So I feel like I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm not gonna say it, but it seems like for a 3-star character, she's going to be really, really good. The fact that it's not going to require a lot to invest into a 3-star character, because I'm pretty sure it's going to take less resources to level her up, and the only thing you need for her is for her to provide that shield and support, and that's pretty much it. So overall, that's pretty much the S tier, A tier. These characters, I won't cover all of them, but you guys can basically see who's on this tier list. And for the B tier, these are all the characters for B tier. I'm kind of surprised that Click is in B tier, considering the fact that he's a DPS and debuff unit. Like, I read his kit, and his kit doesn't seem that bad, but I don't know, because Lens Cap, the fact that when the caster is attacked by reality damage, his damage taking reduction is plus 50%. That's kind of crazy, but we'll see. We'll see in game. But yeah, for like I think this is like the worst. Yeah, the fact that she's in C tier. Now for this character though, she's bad early game, but she is good late game. So let's go ahead and switch to the late game tier list. For late game tier list, you guys can basically see how different the late game tier list is compared to the early game. So that's why I say this whenever you guys are going to start on, Reverse 1999, don't focus too much on the early game. Don't focus too much on that, because what matters the most is the longevity of your account and how good, like how much value your characters can bring to your account long term, not short term. So I'm pretty sure like the most important thing is the late game. That's like the most important part, because if you have a character that's absolutely cracked in the beginning of the game, that's not going to mean anything, because once you reach the late game, your character is just going to be straight up terrible. So late game, I feel like for late game, you really want a character that's around, B tier and up for late game. Because even in the B tier, we have characters who are like A tier in early game. This character is like C tier. I wouldn't say go for that. But these units like Buddy, I don't know how to say her name. This unit right here, this unit seems like they're going to be really, really good late game and early game. So that's one thing I like about this game, the fact that some of these characters, even though they're not that good in the early game, they truly shine in the end game. As you guys can see for Sotheby, she's pretty bad early game, but for late game, A tier. So keep a lookout for that, guys. Make sure you invest into the right characters, because it would suck to invest into a character that is absolutely god tier in the early game, and then once you progress throughout the game, the character's value just completely diminishes. So that's pretty much the tier list, man. In my opinion, I feel like this tier list is pretty solid. Like, I can't really disagree, because I haven't even played the game yet. So I'm pretty sure the people who organized this tier list, they played the CBT, so they actually know what they're talking about. And the CN version already released, I think in May. Yeah, it released like May 31st. So these people actually know what they're talking about. So yeah, pretty much the top characters that I'm looking out for is Ann Lee, Voyager, Centurion, Eternity, and let me go back to the early game, and DK, of course. DK is one of the main units I'm looking out for because I feel like pairing her up with Baby Blue is just going to be absolutely nasty. The fact that Baby Blue is able to shred that mental defense. So it's pretty much the tier list, man. This tier list was honestly pretty nice, and I'm pretty surprised the fact that they released a tier list this early. The game is releasing like a couple weeks. But anyways, put your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with the tier list? Do you guys not? And if anybody played the CBT, I want to see y'all's opinions because you guys know more. But anyways, I'll be leaving the video at that. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate you all for watching this video. I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.